Welcome back, Truth Seeker. As I said a few weeks ago, we need to watch out for the period of Scorpio for a significant earthquake in California. And Scorpio began October 23rd, 2024. There was a significant earthquake in the Pacific closer to Russia early in the day. And then California, the state we're mostly looking at, again, if you missed why we said you need to look out for earthquakes in California on August 6th, which did hit, and potentially October 23rd through the period of Scorpio, you need to go back and revisit those videos. I'll try and put a playlist together so it's easy to find under the playlist tab. But look at this. Just before midnight on October 23rd, a magnitude 4.4 earthquake hit Cali. And remember, one of the things we talked about with regards to October 23rd, the first day of Scorpio, is that it was 44 days after the state's birthday on September 9th. So we get a 4.4 in the state. Again, 44 days later, a big-time military number, a big-time earthquake number in the history of documenting such things. And don't forget the August 6th prediction, which landed, the earthquake came at 9:09 p.m. It also came in the evening time. 9:09, similar to California's birthday, September 9th. Again, if you're not following along why we had these dates circled, it might sound silly if you don't know about what we've been documenting for over a decade. Weather warfare, military also used to make it look like acts of Mother Nature, which aren't, because there's certain people controlling this nation that really don't have the interests of Americans at heart, and what they have are their own interests, their own power, their own control, their own agendas, destroying property and reclaiming it for pennies on the dollar. Central bankers who make money when governments have infrastructure damage and they need loans from the central bankers, which they make a lot of profit off of the interest. This is the motive for this, but they telecast their moves through entertainment. And they've been doing it with the superstar The Rock, who plays Maui the Fire God, and who the burning up of Maui last year was synced with, and who's in San Andreas, where the movie's about a 9.6 magnitude quake. And Gematria, San Andreas equals 96 when you run the alphabetic order forwards, 174 when you run it in reverse. August 6th was 96 days after The Rock's 52nd birthday on 5/2, and the first act of weather warfare was in 52. You go back and look at that August 6th earthquake, it was a 5.2 reportedly. Yesterday, the first day of Scorpio, was 174 days after The Rock's birthday. Again, San Andreas, 96 forwards, 174 in reverse. California just turned 174 years old. That's why we said we got to watch out as soon as October 23rd. And I said, let's hope we're wrong. And sadly, we're not exactly wrong, but I'm glad this wasn't a big earthquake. It's just the thing is, Scorpio goes through nearly the end of November. And again, you did have two significant earthquakes in the Pacific yesterday. The first one was bigger and further away from Cali. But again, it was a 6.2. If you look it up, there was a 6.2 early in the day, October 23rd, closer to Russia, but in the Pacific. And that's what Jesse Ventura said all those years ago. He said when he's a Navy SEAL, that's where they planted a lot of bombs, in the Pacific, close to fault lines. And that area where the first one went off is another active area, just like California is. And again, are these areas active because of Mother Nature? Or, you know what, I do think it is partly because of Mother Nature. Part of the reason these are coastal lines is because of, you learn about Pangea and tectonic plates. I mean, that is a part of it, but that's how it feels that they're doing it. They're using military technology to push on Mother Nature and trigger areas that are vulnerable. It's just like if you're an assassin and you take out human beings, you target areas that are deadly. The head, the heart, the neck. It's the same type of thinking. But if you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order with numerology, the reverse alphabetic order with numerology. Notice this earthquake was most close to Rio del California, which also equates to 163 and 107, just like earthquake. And recall, 11 days earlier, there was a very significant earthquake in Costa Rica, 163 days after The Rock's birthday, on the day leaving 80 days left in the year, like how The Rock equals 80. So what this is showing me from following this is the earthquakes don't necessarily have to be just targeted for California, but of course the movie is San Andreas, and that's where that fault line runs through. But again, you guys, don't live in fear. This has been going on for our lifetimes. The 1989 World Series earthquake, a lot of people listening weren't even alive, or they were a lot younger. That was this same cabal. Remember, the last thing shown on TV was Jose Canseco as the TV cut to fuzz for the World Series earthquake, and that earthquake was 107 days after Jose's birthday, and his name's 107, and I wrote a book about this back in 2017. But again, don't live in fear. Just say, okay, it's sad that I live in this world. How do I protect myself? And that's where the value of the knowledge is. You just make sure you don't get caught with your pants down. You know that this could happen. You don't live like it's going to happen, but you know that it could happen. And you make sure you just keep a little supply of goods on hand to protect you and your family. You got water. You got non-perishable food. You have first aid. You have flashlights, batteries, other things that you might want to have. Maybe you can afford a generator, a protection device, something to protect yourself just in case it's a serious event, it's a Katrina, and there's no response from the authorities, but instead they've, surrounded you and made it a free-for-all for a period of time, which adds to more suffering. You don't want to be that person in that situation with nothing that you can do to help yourself. So again, that's the point of the knowledge, not to be like, oh, I got it right. I didn't want to see that any earthquake hit on this day, but it did happen. And these were the numbers that we addressed, and it being 44 days. So to me, this does show that, again, we were just talking about this a week ago. On October 16th, CNN's top story that day was, is the big one coming to California? Just happened to be a week before Scorpio begins. And remember, The Rock was the Scorpion King. And the Scorpion King equals 78. And from August 6th, the first day we predicted, to October 23rd, the first day we said we got to look out for in Scorpio, was 78 days later. And that motto, order out of chaos, is 78, like Scottish Rite and Jesuit. And those are the Masons and the Jesuits who run this nation. It's military, it's government, it's media. But yeah, and also for all the haters out there who is nothing but crickets and we're right, a lot of people were trying to say, ooh, what happened October 23rd? And again, did you listen carefully? Because I said I didn't have to be that day. But you know what? There was a sign that day in Cali, a 4.4 of all magnitudes, when you know what I've been harping on about for over a decade. Speaking of HARP, it has that 44 Gematria, and don't forget the patent date for HARP also had 44 numerology, one of those military technologies that's capable of causing something such as this. Again, be safe, you guys. Haters, gonna have to take the L again. Don't make it a habit. Till next time.